So for anyone who's not familiar with Teal, I will give a little backstory, also a little bit about myself. Karen really nailed it, but our company was founded in November of 2019. Our founder and CEO, Dave, was the former chief growth officer at WeWork. And as he was leaving the company, noticed this huge infrastructural disparity between all of the resources available to the company and all of the lack of resources available to employees who are trying to figure out severance agreements and career pathing and what to do if they, were laid off, and there was a lack of support and guidance. So that's sort of how Teal came to be initially, on several iterations since then. But overall, our goal is to create tools and resources that empower people to grow their careers on their own terms, very much in favor of people feeling like they have agency over the course of their careers, that they are in the driver's seat. So right now, long, term, we would love to have a platform that's with you from the day of your first internship to the day you retire. But right now, we're very specifically focused on the job search and on supporting job seekers. So we have a bunch of free tools. Some have premium offerings included, but they're available rather. But 90% of the tools are end-to-end free, because we really firmly believe that equal access to job search resources is important. It shouldn't be just the people who can afford to pay for a resume review or for private coaching. We really want to try to democratize access to these resources. So a little bit about my background. I will preface this by saying I am not a recruiter. I am not a resume professional. What I know about the hiring process is very much from studying and learning and some great mentorship, but also from growing out the team that I've led over the years, and from being sort of immersed in the hiring side of the process day to day. So prior to running the brand and content team at Teal, I was running the social media team at WeWork for a little over 5 years. We grew the team to about 15 folks internationally, which was awesome and amazing. It was a whirlwind. I don't know if folks followed the WeWork story in the news. There's a lot there. We'll save that for a separate Zoom. But it was such a good growth opportunity and an amazing learning experience. And then prior to that, I was at Scholastic doing corporate communications, PR, social media, internal comms. And originally I thought I wanted to be an actor. So have pivoted quite a few times along the way. Proof that there is possibility for anyone who's interested in pivoting. And I'm super excited to be here today. So I know the job search is incredibly stressful. I know whether you are currently employed or if you are unemployed and you've been looking for a while, there are so many pain points that we hear from job seekers. So I know some folks in the chat voiced some of the things that they want to learn from this session, but if you have any specific venting thoughts that frustrate you about the job search process or applying to jobs in general, would love to hear those as well, so we can try to touch on those. But I'll certainly start with ones that we hear that are common from fellow job seekers, and then talk about how we can leverage tools and technology to try to make the process a little bit easier. So applications that will get noticed and how to conduct a job search to facilitate a cross-country move. Okay, super. I will touch on these in just a little bit. So I think Teal is a super visual platform, and I think I'll just do a screen share and we can go through it together, because I think, Karen, do you mind sharing access to screen share? Thank you. Out of curiosity, is anyone here in this group already a Teal member? No.
Maybe these are all new.
Perfect. Great. No problem. All right. So the easiest way to get started, I'm trying to figure out how I can have my chat and my full screen at once. So bear with me if I'm a little slow on the comment responses. So the easiest thing to do in order to get started is head to TealHQ.com. Creating an account is 100% free. And I'll call out the parts in here that are paid as we go, just for clarity, but really want to try to make this accessible for as many folks as possible. So you'll create an account. There'll be a quick little survey that gets you going, that just asks about your goals, your timeline, etc. And then it will take you to the Teal homepage. So when you log into Teal, you will see this dashboard, and this is meant to be your landing place for all things related to your job search. So one of the things that we hear a lot from job seekers is, I've applied to 100 jobs and I'm not getting any interviews. I'm not getting any traction on my resume, or I am so tired of rejection. I've applied to 50 places and I haven't even heard back. I'm not even getting automated rejections. I'm just getting ghosted. We are really in an age where the spray and pray method of kind of taking one resume and applying to as many jobs as possible is just no longer a viable option. And Brooke, to your point, like there are definitely ways to try to stand out and get noticed in the process itself. Spray and pray method, not one of those. So one of the best things you can do when setting out on your job search is really to get clarity on what you want before you dive in. It sounds really cliche, but we hear it time and time again, and we also see it firsthand with people who have clarity on what they're looking for next versus folks who are sort of applying to a little bit of everything because they're not really sure. And I think the certainty and the confidence is really what will help take your search to the next level and make it a little more concrete. So we have a lot of free workbooks, worksheets in the Teal Career Hub. I'm also happy to circulate some of these with Karen after for distribution, but there are a bunch of resources and free workbooks and things that you can dig into in terms of exploring your career options, researching your career options, identifying your skills. So I'd say one of the things we like to say at Teal is go slow to go fast. So you have to have that foundation in place and clarity on what your goals are in order to really take things to the next level. So once you have a clear set idea of what it is you're looking for, we recommend adding in your target title, your target start date, and your salary goals into your dashboard, just so they're top of mind at all times. And then you can set your goal of how many jobs you are looking to apply to each week. Generally, we sort of recommend somewhere in the 10 to 15 application per week range, depending on how quickly you're looking to land a job. So unfortunately, to an extent, it is still a numbers game, but we really do recommend putting as much tailored attention and focus into each application as possible. So what we're trying to do is help you do that at scale so that you can submit quality materials that are also at a higher volume, so that you're not wasting your time on things that might not be the right fit, and you're also leveraging your network along the way. Then here you'll see your priorities for the week ahead. You'll see important dates on the top right. You'll see your job search funnel of how many jobs you have in each stage of your search. And then here you'll see the top 10 skills from all of the jobs you've saved in your tracker. What is your tracker? Great, glad you asked. So does anyone use a Google Sheet or a Trello board or a Notion page or anything for your job search? It's okay if you don't, no judgment. Ashley, I used to until Teal. Thank you. Google Sheet, yes, love it. So I too was a Google Sheet user, and whenever I would do a job search, I would set up my columns. Yes, scary Google Doc. I'm so type A, I'd color code, I would alphabetize, I would make sure it was all like, beautiful. And then I would abandon it because it was too much work to maintain. And I was so tired of manually being like, nope, auto rejection from this place. Nope, not going to this place. So Teal's original product was actually a job tracker. This is how we started. So it's not color coded, which is my gripe, but that's okay. It's fine. We have a rank by excitement column. So in your job tracker, and I'm Xing out of the comments for a moment. Sorry, folks. So in your job tracker, you have these built-in columns for you. So you don't really need to worry about setting up any of this. You can see the job title, the company, the salary. I'm confused though. This used to also say minimum salary. So I'm going to ask the team where that column went. It'll tell you the location, the status, the date you saved it, the date you applied, follow-up date, and then how excited you are about it. And the follow-up date part is nice too, because right in here, let's say I want to follow up next Friday, just change this, and it'll send you an email on that day automatically. So how does one add jobs to the tracker? you can do it two ways. You can add a job manually, hit this add a new job. And it's super important to keep track of all of the jobs you're applying to. Sometimes you will apply to something and a month later get an email from a recruiter and be like, what the heck is this? I never applied to this. And then realize, oh, wait, yes, I did. Other times your job description may be taken down from the posting and then a recruiter will reach out and you're like, I wish I had saved that job description because now I have no idea what they're even hiring for, and I don't have access to that information without asking them, which can be really awkward. So we want to make sure that's super easy for you. So each job in your tracker that you add will have the entire job description highlighted with all of the keywords that are most important. So I'm going to go through this in depth in just a second, but first I'm going to show one more way to add jobs to your to your tracker. So you can use Teal on over 40 different job boards. It works on LinkedIn, Indeed, Glassdoor, ZipRecruiter. We have a full list of the 40 plus. Let's say you're on a website, LinkedIn, you're browsing roles, and let's say I want to look at this one, Senior Integrated Marketing Manager. You'll see this little teal icon pop out on the right-hand side. Oh, I should start with the basics. You should install the Teal Chrome extension. So when you go to, you can Google Teal Chrome extension. You can go to the Google Chrome Web Store. It's this one. It'll be the first thing that pops up. And once you have it installed, you'll quickly log in. Just make sure you're logged in to get started. Okay, then you pop it open. So in this case, it will pull out the salary range where the salary is listed in the JD. Oftentimes it's like buried at the bottom, and who has time to scroll for that? Thank goodness for salary transparency in certain states. But this will pull the salary range for you, the top 5 hard skills. This one to me looks like it might be an error. So let me just go to this director of social at Figma. So this says salary not found. So that means that the compensation is not listed in the job description. And then the 5 top hard skills here, these all look like really solid hard skills. So I'm going to rank this one a 5 stars. And I'm going to maybe say like reach out to Allie. Maybe she works at Figma. So now that we've saved it to our tracker, we're going to go look at the bookmarked job. And here we go. So now if we want to, let's say this is really overwhelming with the colors. We just want to see the hard skills. Let's just see. Okay, so hard skills are now highlighted in teal and they're listed here for us on the side. So the reason these are important is because when you are applying to a job, you want to do the best possible job of making a case for yourself as to why you are a good match for the position. So essentially the company in the job description is telling you exactly what they're looking for. Like so often we'll say, I don't know what the company's looking for. They're not being clear on what they're looking for. They're really literally spelling out for you what they're looking for. And it's your job to sort of answer that request for proposal with your proposal and your pitch about yourself as to why you are one of the most qualified candidates for that particular role. And one of the best ways to do that is with keywords. So Brooke, I think it was your question earlier on about how to stand out in the application and being a really solid application. You would be so surprised at how many people apply for jobs and don't think to include any of the most important skills from the job description. So for instance, we were hiring a social media manager role on our team a few months ago. Unfortunately, we had to close the role. Long story, but when we were hiring, we got a ton of amazing applications, and we also got I think 800 in total, and probably 200 of them had financial analyst on there as the target title, or there was a paragraph about why someone wanted to transition from being a customer service representative to a police detective. Like there was just no mention of social media at all. Or people would talk about social media in very broad terms, but not mention the names of any of the platforms that we use the most. So looking at the resume, I didn't know if they had experience with YouTube or TikTok. I could guess maybe, but they didn't actually spell it out for me. So it's an interesting thing that we like to remind job seekers is it's your job to connect the dots for the recruiter or the hiring manager as to why you are the best candidate for that position and why you are qualified. So I will go back to the hard skills. Soft skills are down here. Once this job is in your tracker, you can go back here, look at it, it's right at the top. And then what you'll see here at the top is this pipeline. So if we sort of think of this as a sales pipeline, you have these jobs that are in different stages of your funnel. And ultimately you want to move the jobs through the funnel. So anything you bookmark, we like to think of this as like your shopping cart. Like you can just try it on. My mom is very sweet and joined this Zoom. And so I'm going to give her a shout out. A, she figured out how to use Eventbrite and I'm so proud. But B, she used to take us shopping and she would always tell us just because the outfit looks good on you doesn't mean we need to buy it. And just try on as many things as you can. You never know what's going to look good on you. Just put it in the cart and then we'll decide. And that's exactly what the bookmark feature is for. When you're on job boards, anytime you see something that rings a bell, save it. There's no obligation to apply for it. You're just keeping track. And then over time, you'll start to notice the patterns, the trends, the things that stand out to you about these jobs that you've bookmarked, including over here on your home dashboard, the top 10 skills across the board. So it's also a really good way to get to know yourself and research the things. If you're soul searching, you're like, I don't know what I want my next job to be. I don't know what my skills are. Go back and take a look at the commonalities across these jobs that you've saved, because they'll help pull out some insights for you about what you might be interested in next. So when we're in our job tracker, let's go into each stage. So you have the bookmarked stage. Then let's say we take this role at Figma that we just found and we're like, you know what, I'm definitely interested in applying to this, but I'm going to just jot down some notes about things I like. Okay, I know here I said I was going to reach out to Allie, but I like their PTO policy. Need to ask if this is remote. And then I'm going to say, hey, I want to reach out to Allie. I don't know who I have saved in my contacts tracker here, so I might not use an actual Allie. Let's see, I save myself. Let's say I work at Figma. I'm going to attach my own contact to this to say, okay, I'm going to remember to reach out to her. And then as I move to the applying stage, it'll give me step-by-step tips on what I should do next. So first, check and see if you know anyone at Figma. So let's click through. That'll bring us to a pre-populated LinkedIn search. And oh, I didn't realize Alyssa was at Figma. Great. I'm going to go to her LinkedIn profile and I'm going to open up the Teal Chrome extension again. And now this becomes our contacts tracker. So she was a former coworker of mine and I want to talk to her just about an informational interview. I need to contact her and let's say I'm going to do that. Today's Friday, so I won't realistically do it till Monday. So let's save her. Then we're going to go to the contacts tracker and it'll pull in all of her information from LinkedIn, which is great. So it's all in one place. I can see what her skills are. So I can sort of chart her career path. I can have her contact information and then I'll get a follow-up email on Monday reminding me to check in with Alyssa. And then let's say I'm going to actually just attach the Figma job to Alyssa. So now I know that this job is linked to her and the two are connected. Cool. So this is a great way to keep track of all of the people you meet throughout your job search. I know LinkedIn is wonderful, but this also allows you to add notes on their profile about how you connected. Sometimes on LinkedIn, I forget like how I know someone and someone reaches out to me to be like, can you introduce me to so-and-so? I'm like, I honestly, I wish I could, but I don't even know how I know that person. So you can add notes here, like met through WeWork, did project together in London. Cool. So then once you're in the applying stage, just go through these checklists. It'll sort of walk you through best practices. Now, let's say I want to ask Alyssa for an introduction. Or even if I don't know, let's say I didn't have a first degree connection there, but I had a second degree connection, I could copy this template and say like, you know, I wanted to reconnect through, let's say I'm going to send cold outreach. I'm hoping to learn more about Figma. Like I've been following your work. Okay, cool. We can use this. So I'll copy this. I'll go back into LinkedIn. I'll message Alyssa and then I'll just customize. I'll customize my note a little bit before I reach out. So built-in templates can be found there. Then I'm going to just check the chat real quick. It's tough to multitask. Yes, follow-up, so important. And honestly, there's a fine line between how often you follow up. In the applying stage, you'll see this. We give these recommendations about how often. Our general rule of thumb is follow up kind of once a week for 3 weeks. And if you don't hear back, it's pretty fair to assume that it's a no. So you can archive the job on your tracker. Ashley, thank you for the kind words about Teal in the comments and for the support of my mom. Yes, agreed about, yes, Karen, good advice. Why are they connected? Why you connected? Where you connected? Super helpful.
There was a question on salary and where you might find salary for negotiation.
Yes, great question. So, oops, sorry, hit the wrong button here for a sec. Let me cancel the screenshot. Did not mean to do that. So we actually have a resource, 30 best salary sites to know your worth in 2023, that I will drop in the chat. These are 30 of our favorites and our go-tos for salary research and comparison. It also sort of depends on what industry you're in. There are a ton of different resources out there. I would say there's no kind of one source of truth. I love Alpha's salary database, super helpful. I think they're on this list as well. Yeah, Alpha. And there are more popping up all the time. I know layoffs.fyi just launched one. They might be called, let me see, layoffs. Levels.fyi, they have. So this is another, they just launched a salary research, largely focused on tech. But these should be some good starting points, I hope. Super. So we've talked about this job tracker. We've talked about the importance of keeping tabs of everything throughout the course of your search. But then how do you make your resume stand out? How do you, beyond networking and honestly focusing on forming those relationships organically, how do you make an impact when there are so many folks applying for roles? So a lot of that for us comes down to the resume builder. And I would say networking is hugely, hugely, hugely important. Like, to be candid, every role I've ever gotten, it's because someone helped me get a foot in the door, someone helped me meet someone. I do think I've worked my way up, and it's been a combo of hard work and luck, but I also really value those relationships that have helped me get from point A to point B. So before you even worry about, applying to 500 jobs, I would say, like, can you go through your network and think about, are there 5 people whose work I really respect and admire, and can I reach out to them on LinkedIn and see if they're open to a 30-minute coffee chat and prep some questions for an informational interview? You never know. People are so lovely and generous with their time and may just be willing to have a quick conversation about recommendations for what you can do next. So really nurture your network. And then when you are ready to start your resume, I think we have this assumption, like, no one really teaches us how to job search, first of all. And no offense to my mom. I think that we generally are of this belief that, like, oh my gosh, I have to go update my resume. And that is so stressful and so daunting. And we actually don't recommend that you do that straight away. We recommend that you start with the job description. So that is sort of the base of what your resume is going to be built on. We also hear from people like, how can I don't want to start a resume from scratch for every single job I apply to, which is, you shouldn't, you absolutely shouldn't. So we have this section here called your work history. And this is meant to be a catch-all for every single thing you've ever done in your career. You can add as many target titles as you want, as many professional summaries, work experience from all of your past jobs. We have some new sections that are coming soon: volunteering, projects, and certifications. Those are not, or excuse me, projects, what is, projects, volunteer. There's one more section that I'm totally blanking on. It'll come back to me probably as soon as this live is over. But we have another section coming soon And we recommend that you add as much as you can here. And then when you get ready to submit a resume for a particular role, it's your job to curate and edit from your past experience and figure out which of these past things that I have done would be most relevant to this role that I'm applying for. So especially critical if you're pivoting or you're transitioning or you're looking to move industries, you don't have to show every single thing you've ever done in your life. Like, they know that you've had years of work experience, but the important thing is to show what you've done that's applicable to what it is they're asking you to do. So it's your job to sort of craft this narrative and tell this story about what it is you want to be doing and sort of skate where the puck is going, as we like to say. So in this case, let's say we're interested in, I'm actually going to make a new resume for this Figma role we were just talking about. So let's make a new resume. This will be called Figma resume. And then what I'm going to do to start, actually, before I go about picking what target title or anything I want, this is a Teal resume builder. On the left-hand side, you have the editable fields. So everything here can be adjusted and customized. And on the right-hand side, we have a preview of what this will look like. And then there are different modes here that you can toggle through. So we have a guidance mode, an analysis mode, matching mode, formatting, and then this is the cover letter generator, which is new. So what we will do, yes, please feel free to continue asking questions in the chat. And Karen, it's super helpful when you are reminding me and reading them out loud. So thank you for moderating. So what we'll do here is we can just quickly get a few basics in order. So every every resume should have an email address. So I'm just going to say tina@miller.com because demo. And then you don't necessarily need to put your phone number on your resume. I don't mind doing mine, totally optional. You do want to include your LinkedIn profile, but you also want to include the whole URL. So linkedin.com/in/Tina Miller. So the reason for this is in case your resume is not parsed properly in the ATS, it'll still show up. And ATS is an applicant tracking system, which is not a bot. It's not a crazy auto rejection of your resume. It's a digital filing cabinet that recruiters and hiring teams can use, to organize applicants' information and resumes and search for candidates. So we'll type out our LinkedIn here, city, Los Angeles. We always want city and state. You definitely don't need your home address or your street address. And then we'll see this populates at the top. Cool. Now, let's say I don't have a resume in here yet. And I know there are a lot of folks on this call who don't yet have a Teal account. So what you would do, go to the menu button up here, and then you import resume or LinkedIn. Honestly, the import resume feature is not, it's fine and it works, but it definitely requires a little more manual adjustment of your bullet points. So do expect to spend a little bit of time cleaning up your existing content. Importing your LinkedIn is probably the easiest way and generally what we recommend. And if you're a brand new user, you can overwrite your work history. Let's say that you have an account already. I know we have a few folks on here who do have Teal accounts. You probably want to append your history so that you're not deleting everything that you already have in your tracker. So, sorry, a minute, water break. Let's go through. We're going to create a job specifically for Figma. I'm going to start with matching mode, and I'm going to attach this to a job in my tracker, and it'll tell me a match score. So it'll say, based on what information you have here on the left, this is how good a match we think this is for the actual job description. So based on what the company is saying that they want and need for someone in this role, you're at like a 22%. I'm thinking to myself, okay, but Tina Miller, she's been a senior director of marketing. Like, how in the world would she not be qualified for a director of social media? That seems silly. Well, a couple things. These words that are keywords that are deemed to be important are just not anywhere in her work history. Figma, actually, this is the one that we run into with a lot of tech companies. We've seen it with Zapier, we've seen it with Grubhub, a lot of different roles, it says you need to have experience in that particular, excuse me, technology or tool. But sometimes it's also just mentioned in the job description so many times because it's the name of the company. In this case, if you're going to work at Figma, we should definitely have Figma in there. But social presence, okay, that's interesting. That seems like something I definitely would have had experience with. And one thing I did forget to mention, I'm sorry, is that I would be transparent about the paid versus free features. When you are in the job tracker and you're looking at the keywords, you do get the first 5 keywords for free with Teal, and then the rest, you'll still see them highlighted in blue or orange or pink, but you won't see the number next to it of how many times it's mentioned. And same with soft skills, you'll get the first 5. And then when it comes to the resume builder, when you're in matching mode, when we're in matching mode here, you will see, I believe, the first 5 hard skills and soft skills and remaining keywords, and then everything else is part of Teal Plus when you upgrade. So let's say okay, I want to see where I say I have social experience. Okay, so here it is in my skills section, but and I say I'm strategic. Okay, so here I say that I'm strategic, but this is not the professional summary that I have selected. So I'm going to take this professional summary and I'm going to toggle it on. And now, still at a 22. Okay, so let's say I want to try to work in the word social presence to get my score up a little bit. So I'm just going to edit this professional summary. Deliver remarkable results for top tier companies, traffic, website conversions, and social presence. I'm going to save that. And now this switches from red to green, and the match score goes up to 24%. So you can kind of repeat this process for as many skills as possible. So global, let's say, oh yeah, at WeWork, I definitely managed a global team. So I'm going to edit this bullet point, led a global team of 5 marketing associates. And I'm also going to try to work in high performing teams on high performing teams. This is not really the best written bullet point. I'm really just doing this in the interest of the demo. So do as I say, not as I do. But now we have these keywords active in the resume as well, and our score is already up to a 29%. So the goal is to really try to get this as close to like a 70 or 80 as you can. Let's say that they have some soft skills or some other keywords in here where you're like, this is just really not relevant. I'm gonna like curious, I'm just gonna hit ignore. And that should actually probably bump the score a little bit. So I'm going to check in on the chat here. Yes, so great question about ChatGPT, and an even better stat about women feeling like they should only apply for roles when they are 100% match. That has been it's been huge. So definitely don't worry about getting 100% match. A, that's just not feasible. B, if you're applying for roles that are 100% match, chances are it's too easy for you and it won't be growth opportunity. There's also, I will never forget the first role I applied to at Scholastic. I almost didn't apply because there was a term in the bullet point description that said this person will be responsible for changing out the displays in the ERC. And I was like, what is an ERC? I have no idea what an ERC is. Like, I don't understand. I'm not going to apply. Turns out it was their internal acronym for Education Resource Center. And like, I was 100% capable. It was refreshing the books on the shelf. And like, had I not applied because of that one acronym, I'm really grateful that I ignored it. So in terms of ChatGPT for bullet points, that is an excellent question. So we do have guidance mode. So let's say you are in guidance here. We have some tips to sort of walk you through each stage of the resume building process. And this is generally the formula that we like to use. Success verb plus noun plus metric plus outcome. And if you want a little hands-on help, you could say, okay, I grew our TikTok headcount by 200% in 6 months by implementing a UGC strategy. Let's save that. So you can add them manually. You can also use, we have a built-in generate with AI option that will pull from the job description and pull from your existing resume to include keywords in this bullet point. So this integrates GPT-3 technology. You get 5 of these bullet points for free with the free plan. You get 2 professional summaries and you get 1 cover letter. So professional summary you could generate with AI. You'll still need to tweak it, very much not a replacement for doing all of the work yourself. They don't know exactly how much experience you have. They're pulling what they can from what you're saying you've done. But again, it's a first start, first draft. It's not necessarily perfect. In terms of ChatGPT, we actually do have a ton of content on our TikTok, our LinkedIn, our Instagram about how to use ChatGPT for your job search and specifically for your bullet points. So this article I will also drop in the chat. This is going to walk you through step by step. And there are a list of prompts that we also put together. Let me just open the chat here. So here is a little bit of step-by-step on how to use ChatGPT for your job search, and then 21 great ChatGPT prompts for your resume. This will also tell you what ones to use and then whether you should copy paste the job description or the job description and your resume. I mean, I definitely love the fact that in Teal it's all in one place, but ChatGPT they do have a version that's 100% free. So definitely leverage it. We're all in favor of folks using any tools at their disposal that make their job search easier. It does not have to be Teal, just encouraging folks to take advantage of the technology instead of viewing it as something that's going to replace them. Because I think anyone who's learning to use it now will be at an advantage. It's another skill you can add to your resume. So you can kind of repeat this process using matching mode as many times as possible. Here's an interesting one where this says keyword is available in your work history, but it's not in your current resume. It's going to highlight for me where it's available. And let me just now go ahead and include this professional summary instead. And it brought it from a 28% to a 30%. So once all that is done and you feel you're in a good place that you're excited about, formatting mode will let you rearrange the sections. We do generally recommend, if you've had a couple of years of work experience, that your education come afterwards. If you're a student or a recent graduate, you can put education up top. And then you can adjust things like the margins, the alignment of dates, the way that, dates are formatted. We actually don't show dates on this demo right now, but we should. You can change the accent colors. We have a few templates to choose from. But the reason that we don't have more templates yet is that a lot of people think we focus on the shiny objects and the things that we think are going to move the needle. So when you're creating your resume, it's easy to say, I just need a prettier template. I'm going to go to Canva and I'm going to spend all this time researching like the prettiest templates that will catch the recruiter's attention. It's actually counterintuitive because and I love Canva, I use it all the time, but a lot of the resume templates on there are not designed with the applicant tracking system in mind. So you run the risk of the ATS not parsing images very well, especially when it comes to those. I don't know if anyone's seen those bar charts where people rank like, oh, how qualified am I in this particular, graphic design software, and they'll put like 3 out of 4 dots. Like that's just not gonna parse well at all. So we recommend, that's why this does not have fancy formatting or graphics or anything like that. So another thing to just quickly go over. Also, Katie, I'm laughing at your comment. I've been doing this all by hand like a peasant. No, I mean, I was doing it all by hand too for years. Also, Katie, we literally, false alarm. We just opened a back-end engineer position, but we're going to be probably hiring front-end engineers in the next year. So definitely keep an eye out. Another thing that we just rolled out this week, it's still very early, it's in beta, so I'm hoping it works for this demo. Well, two things. One is this cover letter feature, which rolled out a little longer ago. But what this will do is it will pull the information from your job description and your resume, and it will generate a cover letter for you. Takes a little bit of time, but you can get the first draft here. We don't yet have a way to save the draft of the cover letter within Teal. That will be coming soon, but for now you can just use this as a starting place, copy paste it into a Google Doc. The articles that I shared in the chat also have tips for how to do this same thing with ChatGPT. So you do get one free cover letter with Teal free before upgrading, but you could just use ChatGPT if you wanted. So that's the cover letter feature. And then the one that just rolled out this week, let's say you're on a website and you're on the careers page. We generally recommend applying through the careers page. There's a heated debate on LinkedIn right now amongst a bunch of recruiters saying it doesn't matter if you apply on LinkedIn or Easy Apply or the page itself, which is awesome and good to know. However, we just always recommend applying through the site because then you're ensuring that the job is still active and listed and that the application is going straight into the company's ATS without potential third party. So let's just say it's this director of social role that we've been looking at. And now I'm going to pull out Teal and you'll see here they have online applications are the worst, especially Workday. We have not cracked Workday yet, but our team is testing it. It's just been really, really difficult. But so you can see we've already saved this job post to our job tracker in Teal, which is great. Now we want to autofill the application. So this, you pick which resume. So we want to use our Figma resume. We want to apply for this role. And I'm going to hit continue with autofill. And then this will do its best to pull in everything from both your resume and the job description keywords. Things in gold mean they're missing from your Teal history. So for instance, we just saw I didn't put my resume or my phone number on my resume. So they're not pulling in my phone number. We also don't collect information on work authorization or gender. So you will have to fill out this voluntary self-identification. But this gives you a really good start for these. Why would you like to work at Figma? We would love to see your portfolio. My portfolio. This actually answered the question instead of including a link, but you could go in and change that. It's more meant to be a helpful start than it is a complete replacement. And yes, always love following up, Karen. That's a great suggestion on having someone route your resume to the recruiter internally. Always see who you know at the company and try to connect with them directly. Referral programs are great. That said, a lot of folks, there's a lot, especially you'll see on TikTok these days, people saying, don't apply online. Here's a hack to find the recruiter's email and just email them. Unfortunately, that is not really how it works, and you'll still have to go through the process and through the system. And a lot of equal opportunity employment laws, it's like a legal process, so they can't just bump you to the front of the line. I think it is a bonus to send the hiring manager or the recruiter a note if you can to express interest and to reiterate your excitement about the position. But I think them getting overloaded with emails in their inbox that are already hard to keep track of is not going to make them more excited to hire you, is my opinion. So with all of this said, I know I did a lot of talking. I know there were a bunch of questions in the chat that I probably did not get to yet. Let me see if there are any others off the top of my head. Preparing for a cross-country move was one of the early ones. Laura, I hope you're still on the call. But I think in terms of cross-country move, one of the things that really stands out is putting the right city and state on your resume. So if you are going to be moving to a new place, I would actually recommend, depending on when you're moving, I mean, you don't want to lie, but if you are preparing to be in a different city in a few months, I would put that city here so that you're essentially positioning yourself as eligible. If it's a remote role, it probably won't make too much of a difference so long as you're in the US, I'm guessing, or in the country in which you're legally allowed to work. But I think that starting to put feelers out, you can also try connecting with groups in that area. So I know women in tech, women in sales, women in engineering. There are a bunch of local affinity groups. West is probably a fantastic resource. Alpha, I know, has some wonderful networking. You could try Fishbowl, sort of putting feelers out there and starting to build your network a little bit for the city or town where you're moving. That'll just help create a sense of community and a foundation to start to make some connections before you get there. And I think there was one other one I'm sure that I missed. I don't know, if someone had something else, I know we're sort of nearing the end, please feel free to redrop it in the chat. Amazing. And Karen, thank you so much for putting together this. I mean, West is doing amazing work. So exciting to see all that's ahead for you all. And for anyone who is on the call who wants to connect after this, please, I'll drop my LinkedIn in the chat as well. Please feel free to send me a note. Happy to connect. We're also always open to feedback on Teal as a product. We have a weekly newsletter that goes out on Tuesdays via email and on Wednesdays on LinkedIn that you can subscribe to if you want more job search tips. We are super active on TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram. Website is available for resources. So, and thank you, Ashley. Yeah, we really are trying our best to get back to everyone and having this be as user-friendly as possible. Like, we want to have an experience that is very much job seeker first. There's so much out there that's like company first, and we're not about that. We want to champion you and help you get into roles you're excited about, and feel empowered in that process. So I think that is all from me. I can stop my screen share. I so appreciate you all joining today.
Thank you so much, Lia. That was jam-packed with information, and I hope everyone got a chance to learn something during this hour and have their questions answered. If folks have more questions, Lia has shared her LinkedIn. Thank you so much, Lia. So super excited for this opportunity to really help folks land the jobs that they love. I think something that I also enjoyed when I was first using the Teal platform was kind of identifying what my strengths were. I think there was a strength finder at the very beginning that you were testing to see what the type of roles that you might enjoy, or your personal strengths. And I think that was the first step in terms of figuring out, what that next path was for me, and why I ended up doing, working as the managing director of a mentorship program, because I realized that I loved being creative and I loved being a connector and helping people access opportunities. So I'm hoping that, while people are slogging through and hopefully not updating their resumes manually each time, and I so feel you on that, because I was doing that too. And I'm really excited that that is available through this platform now, that, folks get a chance to also think about, what you want to be doing with your career, and being able to take that step back and have time to find work that you love. So
well said. And I'm so glad you mentioned, I completely forgot work styles existed. Like, maybe I think you should probably do the demo next time instead of me, but we do have this section, and it's called the work styles assessment, and it's totally free. The interesting thing here too is you can ask others to style you, so you can see how your own perception of your own work style stacks up against how others perceive you. And it'll tell you some career insights. We don't have specific career pathing for this just yet, but it'll tell you sort of the things that allow you to thrive, what things come easily, what things take effort, what your start and finish pattern is. And I honestly have taken a lot of personality tests, and this is Tina Miller, so this is not my actual result, but like this is I think it's pretty eerily accurate. So would definitely recommend checking it out and seeing what parts of it resonate with you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you love doing BuzzFeed quizzes, here's your BuzzFeed for you, for your personality, to see what works.
Totally. Exactly.
I know that we're at time. Thank you so much again,
Thank you
Lia.
for hosting. This was so fun. And thank you all
And then,
for being here, and good luck with your job search.
absolutely. And then I'll share out the recording afterwards, along with the link for our upcoming events for job search as well. If you're looking for help with interviewing, and especially behavioral interviewing, or interested in, what that interview process looks like for product managers, we've got lots of great content coming up. So I hope that we will see you for future events. But thank you so much for your time. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Thank you all. Take care.
Thanks again. Bye.